Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to more F1 2017 career mode. You join me for round number 16 of season 3, the Japanese Grand Prix and the home race for Honda. You know, the brilliant story of the power unit for the Mclaren team in the 80s. Sure, is circa 2015 to 2017. Not so much. Not so much. I feel like in this alternate timeline of history, we have done very well with the Honda. We've brought it up there in terms of power in our rivals, the Ferrari and the Mercedes. Very, very fuel hungry, very thirsty is this engine, but nonetheless, you know, it does what it needs to do. And I'd say it's now the best part of our car. And now we're going to try and return the favour for them this weekend at the Japanese Grand Prix. Now, annoyingly, with that said, I lost my quali footage. And I was very frustrated because, well, it was an all-McLaren front row, wasn't it? The home race for Honda, we get an all-McLaren front row. Myself and Alonso, doesn't matter. Build to the race. Lights are out and away we go. After a tremendous pause, Alonso has got a fantastic launch from P2 on the grid. We're going to give him the room into turn 1, and he still made contact with me, pushing me out wide for the second part of 2. Alonso steals the lead, and we get a warning for a collision with our teammate going into turn 1. Vettel has dropped back from P3. His teammate Kimi Räikkönen now takes that position, but it is a McLaren 1-2 around the Suzuka circuit here. Very similar to the start of the Hungarian Grand Prix, as we nearly drop it off the Dunlop curve as we now head towards the Degnas for the first time through Degna 1, clout the curb on the inside, and then just defend it nicely through the inside. Alonso building a lead over this first lap as we now take the Spoon curve. We've got it all wrong into the second part of Spoon. There's a Ferrari up our inside and then it's disappeared. Yellow flags. I saw something go in the mirror. Was that the Ferrari of Kimi Räikkönen down our inside and potentially making contact? We will have to wait and see as we now come through 130R for the first time, extending track limits a little bit. That was unintentional, but we're going to have to watch that as the Grand Prix goes on, and then we get it wrong into the braking zone of the final chicane. But nonetheless, end of the first lap, Alonso leads the way. We come across the line 1.5 seconds back. Then it's Vettel going to challenge us into turn 1, but he has a Mercedes for company. And then there's a big gap back to 5th place, so maybe there has been some calamities there at the end of the first lap. Let's take a look, though, off the line and see what happened between myself and Fernando, who did get the better start. See, we leave him the room going into turn 1, but he just accelerated through. The Ferraris and Bottas go 3 wide through that corner. And you see there, that's where Räikkönen got ahead, but Vettel filtered back to P4 there. And you see, coming out of the second part of Spoon, that's what happened with Räikkönen. Similar to my incident with Bottas, he just got caught up on the tyre, and he spun and then got T-boned by one of the Red Bulls. And you see Kimi just sitting facing the wrong way, having to wait for all the other cars to go past. You just see it there, just contact made with my side pod, tried to catch it, and then dropped it. He's made contact with one of the Mercedes, I think that was Bottas, and then just see him sitting there watching everyone go past, and now we can move. Just frustrating for him. But anyway, now as we move on to lap 2, Alonso's not really what I would say pulling away. We've got it all wrong through Degna 2 though. Carried far too much speed on entry. That puts out wide, and Vettel's going to attack us into the hairpins. We need to brake, stop him. He tries to cut back underneath us, but thankfully our exit was a bit better there. So he's not able actually to get us on traction, but he is going to follow us through the Spoon curve as we now carry on to the end of lap 3. Alonso only 1.4 ahead of us, and now Vettel's going to be trying to have a go. Sorry, this is Bottas now going to try and have a go round the outside into turn 1. Is Bottas going to hold the position? He keeps his foot in it, I'll give him that, but we stayed on the inside line, and he was out to the marbles there, and that enabled us to keep the move. Later on into that, Bottas is going to be having a look into 130R. Can Valtteri Bottas pull off a move? We go side by side, just keeping our foot in. Bottas is on our outside there of the chicane. I thought for a second he was going to try and lunge it around the outside, but Valtteri Bottas, no, known for being a bit cautious in his car-to-car combat, as it were. But, of course, he is going to be in slipstream and have DRS down the pit straight. So is he now, on this lap, going to be able to make a move around the outside of turn 1? He's not as far ahead as he was last time around, and no, he's still not able to make the move. So, annoyingly enough, I can't really make inroads to Alonso's lead because I'm looking in my mirrors as much as I'm looking up the road. But to be honest, I'm happy with Alonso to be leading the way here as Bottas sticks it down the inside of the second part of Spoon, and that gets him ahead of me. And I was going to say, acting as a rear gunner to Alonso is probably going to be quite helpful, because I'd be quite happy with him winning this race. We just need to bring it home in second, and we're not going to be able to do that with Bottas ahead of us, so we now need to make a move. We weren't able to into 130R, but we're around the outside of the chicane on the verge of the track limits. Just able to keep it round, duck it down the inside of the second part of the chicane. Bottas falls back to third. We climb back up to second. Alonso still leads the way. Let's get a replay of that on board with Vettel, because I have no idea how I made that one stick, because I shouldn't have done. Turns out Bottas locked up and lost a lot of speed through the middle part of the corner. That's how I was actually able to keep the move there, keep the position. We come to the end of lap 6 now. We are very weak. I'll admit, a weakness of myself on this track is traction out the chicane. That's going to allow Bottas with DRS, and any car for that matter, to attack us around the outside of turn 1. And Bottas very much always kept his car in it, and I've slid through the second part of the corner, and that's just not what I needed to do going into the S section there. But Bottas got out of position in the left-hander, allowed me to go down the inside. He then couldn't keep his car online through the next right-hander going through the centre S's, and thankfully I thought that was curtains for my second place there, but thankfully Bottas made that mistake. And then we got the preferential call on the strategy here coming in at the end of lap 7. Alonso carries on for another lap, so does Hamilton. Bottas has come in this lap and fit the soft compound tyre. Come on, McLaren, give me a brilliant pit stop. They have a 2-second flat, and thankfully we haven't been held as we have done in previous Grand Prix that's allowed like Red Bull to get back past us, but thankfully we're going to hold the position over Bottas. Here comes a big old train of cars. Please tell me we're going to get out ahead of them. Unfortunately we're not. Loads of cars on the mediums like Massa, Magnussen is going to get through. We just come out ahead of Stroll, and Verstappen is down here in 9th place. We have just kept caught Magnussen napping there, got down his inside. That's also back to 10th place. I think Verstappen lost out horribly at the start due to the issues that Raikkonen had, after the contact with me. He's now on very worn soft tyres, so we're going to go, thank you very much. We're basically just going to outdrive him through the S section. We get him on the inside through the Dunlop curb, just pushed him wide. And now Massa is on medium tyres, so he's not going to be carrying a lot of speed. That Williams is awful in the corners anyway. Add that with medium tyres, and Massa's just going to be poodling along, and he's going to be slow into the hairpin, so I'm just going to take the opportunity. Thank you very much. I think he locked up out of being just scared at the speed that I was coming at him with. So that's us up from 11th into 8th place, and we're now chasing down Romain Grosjean as more cars are in the pits at the end of lap 8, beginning of lap 9. Alonso's already out ahead of the train. That's lovely. And we're just going to get ahead. Vettel's overcut nearly worked. Very nearly worked, but we swept around the outside of Sebastian Vettel there. But he is now on his super soft tyres. So he's going super soft to soft. And you can see here, Hulkenberg currently has 3rd, but he's very slow. You may have heard Jeff on the radio earlier about Hulkenberg slowing down, but unfortunately we've got bigger issues as Vettel has lunged it. The second part of Spoon has not been good to us for this Grand Prix. We've lost time as we now head towards 130R. Grosjean's on the inside of Hulkenberg. We're on the outside of Vettel. 4 into 2. Don't go, Grosjean! Just catches a slide there after brief contact with the Renault. We've kept it around the outside of Vettel, and then we've lunged it down the inside of Nico Hulkenberg. Just had to get through, put a car between myself and Sebastian Vettel, but that could have been a huge accident going through there. Thankfully, there wasn't too much going on, but Alonso on the soft tyre, so we are mirroring the strategy. We do a 32.5, a personal best, but Vettel does a 31.4. He's flying on that super soft tyre, and he's got us on the inside into turn 1, but he lifts out the throttle and then makes contact with us, both of us, sliding through the right-hander. No idea what happened at that point there. I wasn't actually able to catch a replay. I think the wheels might have caught, like his left front might have made contact with my right rear. Anyway, Alonso made his way past the race leader. Can't believe I'm saying this sentence. Race leader Jolyon Palmer for a period there. The Renaults have been making the just starting outside the top 10 strategy work on the soft compound tyre. But we're getting slipstream off Palmer. That's going to allow us to just stay ahead of Vettel. I've had to feather the throttle on 30R. Otherwise, I'd have ploughed into the back of Palmer. And then we're going to make a very similar move to the one we made on Hulkenberg a few laps ago. Just down the inside. And that's actually... Oh, he's made contact in my mirror there. I don't know if any of you saw it, but he actually made contact with Vettel. And that's cost him a couple of seconds. Palmer's then come into the pits. And it's actually meant Vettel's DRS was broken. He's not actually going to be able to attack me for this lap in particular. But Vettel is the man on the move at the moment. Especially when I'm making mistakes through Degner 1 like that. And getting gravel on my tyres. Because that's then going to mean I'm slow through Degner 2. And Vettel on traction is going to get me up towards the hairpin. He's on the outside though. Can we just keep the car slowed down? We kept it slowed down nice and tight on the apex as well. Vettel not able to get past us. And at this point I was just pretty much defending purposely using lean mix in sector 1 to help Alonso protect his lead. But Hamilton now is going to attack us, and he's got more straight line speed than Vettel does. He's on the outside with DRS open. This is the best opportunity anyone's had to get past me into turn 1, but Hamilton again just lifts off, and I was caught unawares by where Hamilton lifted off, just on that particular straight. I thought he was then going to sharply turn to the right, and there was going to be a huge accident, so I prepared myself for it. Anyway, Vettel comes in. He's wasted his super soft tyres. It would have worked if he had got past me and chased after Alonso, but he had to pit from 4th. But him coming in early is going to allow him to undercut pretty much myself, Hamilton, and Alonso. Speaking of Hamilton, he's nearly been able to duck underneath me through into the S section, similar to how Bottas did earlier on in the Grand Prix, but he wasn't actually able to make the move stick. So, at this point, I'm pretty much just defending from Hamilton, and like I say, protecting Alonso's lead, because I know he's going to drop off at the end of the Grand Prix, as Hamilton here is going to try and have a go into 130R. He's pulled the car most of the way ahead. Can we try and hold it? Round the outside, Hamilton comes across. There's brief contact with the front wing. I think I've lost a tiny bit of an end plate just there. And we even get the message from Jeff, the radio call just there, but we were down the inside of the hairpin, not the hairpin, sorry, the chicane at the end of the lap. Yeah, Hamilton, I don't know if he feathered off the throttle or whatever happened there through 130R, but he made slight contact with the front wing, and now Vettel with that undercut. He's now in the 30s, the mid 1 minute 30s. That's a hell of a lot of speed that I can't keep up with. So I'm diving into the pits at the end of lap 19. I've been in the 33s, especially after getting front wing damage, and I'm very concerned that Vettel is going to get through on us here and could potentially ruin our strategy of a McLaren 1-2. But here we go. I decided not to change the front wing. It's a 2-second flat pit stop again ahead of Hamilton. But Vettel, there he goes. Look, he's already passed, and we've still got pit lane to go down. Vettel is through turn 1. We disengage the limiter now, and Vettel's through turn 2. He has performed an absolute miracle stint on those soft compound tyres to be able to jump us there. Shades of Schumacher with what he did in Hungary 98 and again in France 2004. Just quali lap after quali lap after quali lap. He has smashed it. And now when Alonso comes in, Alonso was over 10 seconds ahead of me. He is going to be... In fact, he's in now at the end of lap 20 for super soft tyres at the end of the race. He is now going to be susceptible to an attack from Sebastian Vettel. I'm going to be susceptible from an attack to Lewis Hamilton here coming into turn 1. You see Alonso is actually down to P2 on super soft tyres. Vettel has got past him and now leads the Japanese Grand Prix. So what looked like him wasting his super soft tyres earlier on in the race now looks like an absolute blessing for him as he's taken the lead with only 7 laps to go. And obviously, Alonso's not going to be able to stand up to him. Like, Alonso's good in the corners, but that Ferrari all round is a better car. I've done a 31.2 on my fresh tyres, but it still just isn't fast enough. As there's now yellow flags through turn 1. What's going on there? Vettel's down to P2. Has there been contact between Alonso and Vettel? Was he able to follow him close enough? As we go through, there's no Vettel's drop. What? Oh, Sebastian Vettel. He's out of the Japanese Grand Prix from the lead. That's heartbreaking. That I feel as if that's almost unfair. The stint he had done to get ahead of myself and Alonso, and his cars failed him. And if I was Sebastian, I would be raging. Anyway, so Alonso retakes the lead. He is now pretty much home and dry. I've gone horribly wide in the first part of Spoon. That's then meant through the second part I've made contact with Bottas. That's actually pushed me wide onto the curb. So Bottas has got a run. It's 1 McLaren under attack from 2 Mercedes. Bottas moves up into P2. He's got the outside of 130R. Is he going to lift off? Answer is no. We're going to be back to the outside of the chicane. Similar to earlier in the Grand Prix, can we make the same move stick versus Valtteri Bottas? Yes, we can. And that's put him off on the exit. That's allowed Hamilton to make his way past, and it's also meant that we shouldn't come under attack into turn 1 because of the impeded traction there. And now through to lap 23, the front end just isn't sticking as it used to earlier in the Grand Prix. You see Hamilton, I'm having to defend into Degner 1 as Hamilton goes very wide, carrying so much extra speed there, and went through the gravel, but somehow retained third. I've got no idea if Bottas sort of, braked or whatever happened there, but I've now got to go defensive into the hairpin. I've lost all pace. The tyres have gone off. I think the front end, not having a full front wing, has caused graining on the front tyres because it's just not turning when I need it to, and I've lost so much time. I'm now 13.5 seconds behind Alonso. I've now got Hamilton on my right, Bottas on my left into turn 1, and I've somehow got around the outside of Hamilton. Bottas tried to go very wide, and he's back to side by side there with Hamilton. I think there must have been some contact at some point, because that was the last time that both Mercedes were able to attack me. But Fernando Alonso has come across the line to bring home his second win of the season for the McLaren Honda team at the Japanese Grand Prix, and I'm going to bring it home for P2, and it's finally redemption for all the horrible races. It's a 1-2 at Japan.
Good job, you did really well. Super driving.
Well, this is it. This is where they all want to be. Here come the top three then, out onto the podium after a fascinating Grand Prix.
And with that result of Fernando Alonso winning from P2 on the grid and myself coming home at P2, that is a perfect result for the Constructors' Championship for McLaren Honda, with Bottas finishing in third. So we get 3 more points over Valtteri Bottas. And yes, there must have been some kind of contact between himself and Hamilton. Hamilton dropped to 5th as Perez finished 4th. You can see there for the driver standings, my lead over Bottas now 55 points with 4 races to go. Vettel's now dropping off it there. I think Sebastian is the only other one within mathematical contention of winning the Drivers' Championship. Alonso jumps back up to 5th there, beating Hamilton by 2 points. As we go to the Constructors' side of things, McLaren 57 points ahead of Mercedes, who are now pulling away from Ferrari, and Force India re-overtake Red Bull and are now 9 points ahead of them. I hadn't actually been keeping track of that fight until now, watching it back through the replays as a commentator over. But guys, that has been the Japanese Grand Prix of Season 3. Finally, just all the work that the guys have put into the Honda engine over these 3 seasons is finally paying off, and we were able to bring it home for Honda in a 1-2 at their home race. Bit of luck because of Vettel's retirement, and just, yeah, some just defensive driving versus the Mercedes in the final sort of few laps. Until sort of lap 23, then when they just sort of ran into each other. I think they both had front wing damage, and obviously, you know, after my collision with Lewis, it wasn't ideal. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and leave your feedback down below. And if you want to keep up to date with the content coming to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and enable them notifications to never miss a single update that comes to the channel. Next time up, it's the Circuit of the Americas, COTA, one of my least favourite circuits. Let's see how we fare there. I will see you all next time.